A while back, I did a video with advice for moderating Discord servers. Another point that I'm kicking myself for not bringing up in that video is something that isn't really even just for Discord moderators, but for anyone who interacts with other human beings. Which is, most of us. Not sure I can speak for all the Splatoon manga fans, but otherwise... It is a cheat code for life in general, not just Discord moderation, that when you have a conflict with someone else, you try to manage that conflict one-on-one with that individual first, before you tell anyone else about it. As a moderator, sure, delete the offending post, but let the person know about it in DMs instead of airing it out in the public channel where the post was made. This is the #1 way to maintain a positive relationship with someone when you reach a disagreement. Discuss the nature of the problem, tactfully sure, but honestly, without sugarcoating. Let them know where your boundaries are and why that behavior crosses them. Be open to learning about how to respect their boundaries as well. If you keep the tone calm and make it about figuring out where the problem is and teaming up to solve it with them, you're going to go from having a problem in that relationship to being in an even stronger relationship than you were in before there was a problem. Sometimes it can help to go to another trusted friend first and hash out the situation, figure out what you think about it. Sometimes it can even help to go to that friend to vent, to process your emotions by having to describe them to someone else. Same principle as rubber duck programming, look it up. But if you're coming to someone with the intent of convincing them to take your side, if you're just looking for this third party to tell you that you're the one who's right, your priorities might be different. Maybe now you're not trying to repair your relationship to this person you're in conflict with. Maybe now you've decided that the damage is irreparable. Maybe you're looking for reassurance that you aren't the cause of the damage, or even for leverage over your adversary, instead of for an opportunity to smooth a disagreement over with a friend. In a Discord server, you, as a moderator, are there to make sure rules get followed. The easiest way to accomplish that goal is not to punish people who don't follow the rules, but to make other people want to follow the rules. They will want to follow the rules if the benefits of getting along with you and others around them, of not causing a problem, of not breaching a boundary in these positive relationships, outweighs the benefits to them of breaking those rules. If they feel like they're just never going to get along with you because all your interactions with them are antagonistic, they're going to feel like the mods are picking on them, turning the group against them, posturing to try and get leverage over them, instead of trying to help them integrate into a community and make friends. My experience tells me that the impulse to post about your conflicts online often comes from a place of insecurity. If you keep a conflict between two people, it's easier to feel uncertain of your stance. If it's your one opponent versus you and 4 people who liked your post online, though, that makes it feel much more like you're in the right. Never mind that people who see your posts online are more likely to share your values, be like you, and otherwise agree with you. It's easy to cook the numbers, to p-hack yourself into thinking that your entire echo chamber, plus just the one person who has an outside perspective, is a sufficiently representative sample of perspectives to draw conclusions from. On the whole, people are stronger together, but sometimes we can make each other worse. One of the best-known experiments in all of psychology involved showing someone the card on the left, and then asking them which line on the card on the right was the same length. Alone, people got this wrong less than 1% of the time. But when they answered the questions in a room with actors who got the first few questions right, and then answered this question wrong on purpose, about 1/3 of the subjects conformed to the wrong answer. It's the same thing that causes middle schoolers to click up and gang up on each other. If you want to do something that would otherwise be socially discouraged, you can assemble a posse of your buddies to jump up on their desks and loudly cheer for you while you do it. They're going to be loud and mindlessly encouraging, because doing that gains them status as a member of the in-group. You, then, backed by their approval, don't feel like you have to think as hard about the consequences as you would if you'd done the thing by yourself. Being a rational thinking person means exposing yourself to outside perspectives, getting outside of the in-groups you're a part of. You need to make sure you actually know what other people think and what you think about what other people think, instead of choosing to believe whichever idea is getting expressed the loudest. People are much more likely to sit with you and explain themselves to you in good faith to help you understand their outside perspective if you ask them about it in a one-on-one conversation than if you try to marshal your followers against them on Twitter. Now, when people post about their problems with other people online, a lot of the time the given reason is to, quote, spread awareness, unquote, of that person's behavior to the community. We need to warn each other, people will tell themselves. I have two objections to this. First, it's rare that the behavior being warned about is really very serious, especially in something like a Discord server. It is unhelpful, rhetorically compromising, and entirely out of proportion to react the same way to a microaggression as you would react to a felony. Second, even in cases where it is serious, publicizing it often isn't doing any good. Think for a second about how many times you've heard about some heinous crime in your community, let's say murder. Think about the number of them that you're aware of in your area. Got a number? Now go do a quick search and compare it to how many have actually happened over, say, the last 5 years. You can pretty easily go and find statistics about how many times this happens in a given city, in a given state. In my state, there tend to be around 200 each year, around half of them happening in the nearest major city. I probably only know about a single-digit number of them. Has that made me any less safe? I don't think so. I don't even think that my knowledge of the ones that I do know has kept me any more safe. Now sure, if someone I were interacting with has a history of violence, it's probably valuable for me to know how to approach my in-person interactions with that person. It might cause me to put more distance between them than I otherwise would. But that doesn't mean I keep this running list in my head of everyone who's hurt someone and check the names of everyone I know against that list. Even as someone who has worked with formerly incarcerated individuals as an educator, someone who's known men that shot people, sexually abused people, and otherwise put people in danger, even then, I never felt unsafe working with them in the capacity that I had to. Pretty much everything that happened in those classrooms would have played out the same way whether I'd known about their criminal records or not. It's only if I had been, say, a family member or a romantic partner or a close friend or a business partner of one of those people that I think I would have really needed some kind of warning. And maybe I would have been treated differently as a woman, or if my work had been of a different nature. The program I was in did still vet participants and had safeguards in place in case something happened. That's all fair to consider. But for me personally, even as serious as some of these crimes were, it didn't need to go that far. Cases where people are so dangerous that there needs to be a public warning, a public service announcement, anywhere in society, are exceedingly rare. Most of the time, any safety concerns are handled through systems like background checks, where the specific information is shown only to a few highly involved stakeholders. Even then, if I were to find out that someone in a Discord server I run is predatory, that they're actually engaging in something illegal, which of these two actions will keep people safer? Making an announcement in the server that they're dangerous? Or kicking them and banning them? Sure, they could go into another community server and try to do the same thing, but the way to stop that isn't to make sure every single community member has an exhaustive list of all the crime committers. It's to report their account to Discord's safety team and reach out to the moderators of the other Discord servers and let them know. They're the only ones who could do very much about that person's account anyway. Public awareness doesn't change anything about how safe or unsafe that server is, even from the worst offenders. What public awareness might do, though, is make that person better known, something that, using social media, they can leverage to make themselves look like a martyr. It might bring unwanted or even dangerous attention to the victim. It might allow the perpetrator to do the adult version of organizing those class clowns to jump up on classroom desks to hype their buddies up, to harass the victim into silence. Better to deny bad actors of that ammunition by preventing as many people from getting involved. The big, scary, powerful forces in our lives have told us that it's cool to put everything about ourselves on the internet, and they've given us like buttons and share buttons to ping our dopamine receptors as rewards for doing it. Thing is, the set of things contained in everything about ourselves includes our conflicts, and not just the major ones, but even our misunderstandings, our petty grievances. And the tools of social media have made it so those can be seen by exponentially more people than have ever been able to see them in human history. More people know about Drake versus Kendrick than there were people alive on planet Earth at the time Alexander the Great was trying to conquer the world. And people back then were not finding out about the results of every skirmish in real time on Twitter.com. At the same time, your social media footprint is like a tattoo. It's very, very hard to get rid of, and by far the easiest way not to have an embarrassing one is just not to put it there in the first place. Even if you stand by what you say now, do you think you will 5 years from now? 10 years from now? It'll still be there, even though you'll be an older, more experienced person. Go look back at posts from 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Some of it makes you cringe, right? If you're a jerk to your friend, but you realize it later on, you can apologize to them, and that will only make your relationship stronger. The single other person who ever even knew about what happened now has a better relationship with you than they did before. 100% success, 0 collateral damage. If it's all online, though, you're a lot less likely to still be friends with the person. You've made it so other people are less likely to be friends with the person, even if you regret doing that. And the public record of all of this happening is never going away. The risk-reward here almost always favors keeping issues as private as they can possibly be. Big mass media personalities all figured this out the hard way a long time ago. It's a pretty serious decision when someone goes public with their romantic relationships, because if even years down the line there's a split between the two, the fan base is also going to split, and they're going to behave negatively toward the side they agree with less, and there will almost certainly be at least someone on both sides behaving negatively. If they'd kept it private, what would have been lost? Usually, not enough to justify making it public. I hope we stop assuming that just any bad behavior someone exhibits is worth spreading publicly. Many issues can be resolved one-on-one without any intervention. If intervention becomes necessary, usually all you need is to tell one person with the ability to make a change. DM a moderator about your problem, and explain what you've done so far to try and fix it. If you're the moderator yourself, communicate with people in DMs to explain rules and rulings, to investigate, and yes, to build relationships even with the people who cause the most trouble in your server. Especially with the people who cause the most trouble in your server. As a wise teacher once said, kids don't learn from teachers they don't like. And being frank and honest with someone without harshness or vindictiveness can absolutely bring them around to liking you, and maybe seeing eye to eye with you on how they should behave. Moderation is nothing less than a community safety matter. Don't understate the importance of doing it in the most effective way we can.